Okay, and we are live.
Hello, hello. Hi,
What's going
everyone.
on?
Juliana here from PaymentEvolution.
Ellie
And
here from PaymentEvolution.
awesome. Happy Friday afternoon, and I guess late morning for some folks, depending on where you might be tuning in from.
Yeah, the weather's kind of murky outside today.
Yeah, it is. Well, what are you gonna do, man? It's December, and the fact that we're not all in parkas all the time is pretty good up here in Toronto. So
Yeah, for sure. I feel weird about this winter coming up because lockdown, COVID-19, you're stuck at home, and then when you finish work, it's dark outside, and it's just like I heard a quote, and I heard it was like it's gonna be a dark, lonely winter. And I was like, no.
Well, we're trying to fix that. We're trying to eliminate the dark, lonely winter effect by having live streams on Friday afternoons when hopefully people are kind of bored and tired and don't want to work. And so they'll tune in. We're still talking about work stuff. So it is justifiable,
Right.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
totally justifiable.
We're trying to cater to the procrastinators.
Well, I think we're trying to help those who need a break refuel.
There we go. I like that phrasing. Phrasing matters a lot, and we'll just go with that. The tagline for these live streams.
Yeah, totally. We're not going to say we
it.
serve the procrastinators. No.
Yeah, that'd be the worst tagline. Never do that.
I wonder if something that real would work. I wonder if that is something that real would work. People would be like, "Oh, that's me," and log on and be like, "It's a podcast for me."
Maybe we should try it. Who knows?
Or maybe we should. Oh shoot! I have this like pretty pad of Post-its, and I'm dropping stuff on it.
No worries. But hello everyone. In this live stream, we will be talking about updates from PaymentEvolution, what you should expect from us, any cool things we have coming up, and sharing some good vibes and good times with you. So I'm excited for this live stream.
Yeah, I'm always up for hanging out. I just love people. So any people that want to send us a hello or a question, I want to see your names show up in the comments. So please hit us up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you have questions, put them in the comments wherever you're watching this, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever it is.
Awesome. All right.
Cool.
So what are we talking about today, Leaf?
Well, we recently had a company-wide meeting yesterday. Pretty fun. I actually took some screenshots when no one was looking, so I have like pictures of like a bunch of us, just like either looking down, looking up, like, or in like that resting phase where you're just watching a conference call. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I have a bunch of that. But yesterday we had a company-wide meeting. We talked about some exciting things, and I believe you officially announced to our internal team some new colors and logos and things of that nature. Is that right?
Yeah, so it was not just, hey guys, we are refreshing our brand and there's that news, but we actually revealed the brand direction and all of that. And it's kind of interesting because when you reveal a brand to the staff that didn't have a chance to weigh into it, there's a chance that people might not be happy, right? They might look at it and be like, well, I don't know how they came up with that or whatever. But I think we did a pretty good job consulting with the right groups of people because overall everyone was really excited.
The chat was on fire.
Yeah, and people were demanding swag, which is fun. Like, who wants to walk around with a brand, on their chest kind of thing? I guess more and more people, because we spend an exorbitant amount of money on that kind of thing. But it's pretty cool when people are doing that work-wise. Like usually people are like, I don't want another work T-shirt,
Right.
We got the opposite.
Oh, I think it's lagging.
Lagging a bit. Yeah, there we go. So not only
maybe the logo looks so good, so people want to wear it.
Yeah, and people were not just asking for T-shirts. People were like, well, I prefer a sweater. I'd like a mug. I'd like a hat. So kind of cool. Own it. Make it your own, which is awesome. I wonder if I was gonna make it my own, what would be Juliana's swag? Because I always, as a marketer, I always think, what will resonate with people? What do people want? Not what I want, But I wonder if I had, if I could custom pick my swag. I wonder what it would be. Ooh,
Socks?
I think in socks. I have
Socks.
done. Did you say socks?
I said socks, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It just seems practical, and you seem like a practical person.
Well, I am pretty practical, and in fact, I have done socks before.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah, and they were so popular. We did like fancy polka dot socks within our brand colors, and the whole tagline was "Thinking on Our Feet," and people were like, you know, which booth has the socks? Oh, you guys! Oh, you know, like they wanted socks, so that was kind of cool.
Socks.
I was just thinking maybe like a Kindle or something that was branded.
A Kindle, like a whole Kindle, not even clothes. It's like you want electronics, branded electronics.
I want something that. Well, look, if I can custom pick it, I get to be selfish. I would like a device. But yeah, I'm a device whore.
Really?
Say that like
device hoarder?
No, whore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well.
like I want all the devices. I want to try them all. Allow me to embarrass myself. Let me show you something.
Okay.
Any chance you recognize this? There's a little logo.
Stadia? Oh my god.
Stadia.
Is it good?
Nobody has Stadia. Okay.
I actually downloaded Stadia the other day, but then I canceled it because I was like, okay, whatever.
It's okay. Like this cost me, I think it was like $200 or $300 because there's no console, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You watch it anywhere, right? Laptop or TV or something. Yeah,
you have to have a computer that can actually perform at that level in order for you to properly game on it. But yes, I am a tech early adopter, and I love smart tech. I love tech that is well built for specific use. So yeah, that would be my choice of swag. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I have a Google Home, and I connected it with my lights the other day. And instead of just getting up and turning the lights on and off, I just literally set it. I'm not gonna say it now because it'll activate it. But if I say, "Hey, turn off the lights," it's so convenient to not just lay down and it'll control itself, and I don't have to get up. It's honestly, tech is the best.
Yeah, totally. And you can do some really fun things with the like. Is it one of those smart bulbs where you can change the colors?
No, not these, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but you can do some really fun things. And then they end up having like really functional uses, and you wouldn't have thought. You would have thought it was some sort of joke, like just like a novice thing. Like, oh, it's a novelty. I haven't done this before, so I'm gonna talk to the lights. But
I know, right?
But it ends up becoming quite functional. There's one. Oh, I remember. I think it was a client of mine, coaching client maybe years ago. But I remember, like the story ultimately was he's in his office, his boss is frustrated with him, starts yelling at him, and then out of nowhere, clearly he's been, this has been pent up inside. This leader says to his employee, and why do you have a stupid iPhone? That's just for games and for kids.
Oh wow! Wait, someone said that? This is real?
Like a boss said it to the employee, and when I say employee, this was a senior leader. Like he said it to like a senior director of something or VP, or I can't remember exactly. But the reason why iPhones have entered the market, the business market, the reason why business people are using iPhones instead of Blackberries is because like user experience trumps all. And and ultimately, at the end of the day, a consumer will always decide. And maybe it's a specific person in the organization that's responsible for buying the cell phones for everybody or the computers for everybody, but their preferences as a consumer are coming into play. Absolutely. So yeah.
Wasn't Blackberry like the company kind of phone? The president had it because that's the best connection or safety or something of that nature.
Yeah, I think so. BlackBerry is really well known for having the keyboard on the screen, and for keeping that on the screen the longest. One of the things that I think they misplaced their marketing. I think specifically the one thing that they did that separates BlackBerry from everyone else is security. And so I think like there was this one ad campaign that Samsung had out. and it was just like a big lock, and it was on billboards and bus stations a few years back now. And I just thought, like, Blackberry kills Samsung in terms of privacy. Even I think at the time, Samsung had just released a way that you can partition your phone so that if your employer wipes your phone, your personal stuff doesn't get touched. But yeah, the security features on Blackberry are like top of the line.
Yeah.
And that's what they should have focused on, in my opinion.
And I don't think I can ever go back to like a keyboard on a phone anymore. I'm so used to like the touch screen type of thing. So to go back to like a keyboard feels really weird.
It's also really possible that like we're gonna end up getting rid of computer keyboards. You know, like maybe everything's just gonna be like some sort of suspended AI, and you just, you know, I don't know.
Probably. Who knows? Like. Yeah, who knows? Even like doing live streams like this, like we can go live in front of a bunch of people. Before we couldn't even do that, and now we're here. Who knows what it's gonna be?
And maybe in like 2 years we'll be doing this as holograms.
Possibly. You know, I heard Joe Rogan, Elon Musk podcast. I don't know if you probably watch it too, but Elon said something really interesting. He's like, we're already controlled by AI. It's just that it's not biologically attached to us, and it's our phones. So the only difference is it's not really in us, it's more external, but whatever it is, it's still controlling us. And I was like, mind blown. That's fascinating.
Yeah, and it's listening to us, you know. I have a Google Home right beside me. It's listening to me all the time. Hi, Google. You know, like we have a relationship.
It probably knows everything about you.
You're asking if I'm committed to you. The answer is absolutely.
Did you hear that? If you're asking if I'm committed to you. Well, the feeling is mutual, Google. So it's all good. Yeah. So yeah, we've got a new brand that is going to be launching in the new year. We're not announcing the date yet, but stay tuned for that. And we're also going to be doing some new stuff in terms of empowering some of our partners. We've already started to do a little bit of that this year, but we're going to get even deeper into making sure that anyone who is partnering with us to you know, offer payroll as a service, or maybe evolve customers, so accountants and bookkeepers. Essentially, we want to make sure that everyone that is working with us has all the tools they need to grow their business. So we're creating marketing packages, marketing kits, if you will, that will that if you're a bookkeeper listening to this right now and you want to start offering payroll as a service, well, PaymentEvolution is one of the most affordable and feature-rich options out there. Integrates with the most popular accounting software, and will give you the turnkey marketing that you can just implement right away. You can post on social, you can send out the emails. So we really are focused. I think 2021 is going to be the year of small business empowerment. And you know, that's really one way we're doing this, and our brand is very much tied to that. Our brand is about reinvigorating that commitment, not just because it's not always just like the meat and potatoes. Symbolic stuff matters too, right? So yeah, you gotta enjoy the process.
Yeah, and I think reinvigorating business is perfect now, because 2020, you know, small businesses are like, oh no, restaurants, oh no. So like 2020 is the come up year. It is perfect timing for that.
Well, and also this idea, like, I love, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do it better than anyone else, at least as far as I know. Right. And please, if you're doing something that I've never heard of, or whatever, like, challenge me. I want the debate. I want the challenge. Dare me. Like, I will rise. But one thing I love about PaymentEvolution is, what payroll company takes it as their responsibility to help you grow your business? You know, like, most payroll is just a utility. You know, I got to run payroll. I have to do it. And no one actually chooses well, very rarely do we choose our electrical company or our water provider or whatever. It's just like, yeah, it's a thing we all need, so we do it. We get it, and we pay whatever bill comes to us. But we're really, like, the reason we're here is about inspiring business or empowering business, small business and medium in Canada. And so doing that can't just be a slogan. It can't just be a brand. You have to live it, and living it. I think the marketing kits for our partners and resellers are really good examples of how we are actually empowering businesses, not just by giving them a great tool. It's not just about us making money. It's about them making money too. So
Yeah.
and that's all about the entire economy doing well. So
right.
Yeah, some good direction I am really excited about for 2021.
For sure. Why do you think it's important to help small businesses? And what role do they play in the economy?
Yeah, so small and medium-sized businesses are responsible for employing something like 90, well, I'm trying to remember right now, and I don't remember the exact stats, but I think it's like 97% of businesses in Canada are small or mid-sized businesses. I think, I don't remember the exact numbers, but like most people in Canada are employed by small and mid-sized businesses. And small and mid-sized businesses are really ground zero for an economy. We have to support each other, buy local and all of that. But like if you have small business absent from a town or community, buying power changes so much. People can't get access to certain things. That affects your sense of community, all kinds of things. Like, small business is not just the driver, the engine of our economy, but it also enriches community. Really, really powerful stuff. And I just hate this idea that as an individual with talent, you need to have a job with a big organization that gives you a tiny sliver of responsibility, when you might have an avalanche of value to offer. So, there's this one guy, Vito, something that my husband and I follow on Instagram, and he's a pizza maker in Los Angeles. And like, he's your average pizza maker, but this is somebody who's devoted his life to creating great, memorable, historically rich pizza. Like, there's more to the story. It's not just some flour and water and yeast and people scarf it down and don't think twice about it. It's an experience. I think it's Vito Iacobelli, I think is his name. Anyway, yeah, really cool guy, and we've tried some of his recipes and stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's always a story behind like the walls of a business or something.
Yeah.
One thing you also presented about yesterday was, and I'm curious to see like what your learning outcomes from this, but you conducted a big survey in terms of like doing that with their whole company and everything. What did you learn about conducting surveys for a company, synthesizing data? I know we had a conversation about like how to write certain survey questions.
Yes.
What was your insights? Can you share some like thoughts on that, and what was the process like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this ties into the fact that I am obsessed with effective communications. I see most communication as this massive game of broken telephone. Did you ever play broken telephone as a kid?
I think so.
Cool. Yeah. So like one message and it goes around, by the time it gets back, it's not the same message at all. Yeah. And I feel like that's exactly what happens person to person in our personal lives and our work lives. And so I'm a very, very aware and constantly trying to calculate, the science and the art of saying what you mean and having it land the way you intended. And that works, I think. Obviously, that's critical to marketing. I think it's critical to leadership. And I think it's critical when you're trying to collect data, because talk about adding multiple layers. So when you speak, you are speaking through your own filters, whatever your beliefs, assumptions, rules, expectations are. When your message is received, it's received through the audience, the listener's filters. And then when you're asking survey questions, now that person has to send you back a response that is based on their filters, and then you have to interpret it again. And so very like huge opportunity for broken telephone, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's really important if you're administering a survey, make sure that you're administering a survey for a specific purpose, whether it's to ascertain client satisfaction or employee satisfaction, or to get, your finger on the pulse of what your clients care about, or the culture of your company. In our case, we did a cultural assessment, and that leads me to step 2. Don't reinvent the wheel. I'm not suggesting that you go online, do a search, and copy whatever survey you see, but instead go a little bit deeper and make sure that you're using some kind of methodology, something that's been done before. If you're reinventing the wheel, you're also remaking mistakes that have already been ironed out of other processes. So lean on the data, the research, the expertise from people who do this for a living. Yeah, so I am trained and certified in the Dennison Consulting organizational assessment model. And
why?
Why?
Why? It sounds so.
A
lot of people who are like, I'm certified in results and surveys.
Yeah,
So.
I know. Right? This is just one survey type, but the reason was because the more I researched it, the more I discovered that this is based on, I don't know, like decades of research, and this survey has been proven to align. The results of it have been proven to align with performance. So, and I don't know that I'm aware of really practical, like that many really practical ways to talk about performance without talking about the numbers. Like no one's looking forward to that company meeting where you talk about the return on investment, the sales numbers, right?
Right.
But if you have a company meeting where you say, we are noticing that our customers are not satisfied, and we've managed to figure out that the biggest reason is because we're inflexible. And now you have a conversation with your people about what flexibility means to them, and in what ways are we inflexible, and like how effective is it to have a meeting where you say we need more sales, but if you say we need to get clearer on our goals, how many of you right now would agree that what our plan is for 2021?
Yeah.
And then can you articulate it to me? Like, have those conversations, and now it's not this, I checked the box, I talked about sales. It's actually a topic that can affect sales, that's practical, that everyone can wrap their minds around. So I just thought that was brilliant. I thought that was really brilliant. The other thing that I find really interesting about the Dennison model is the way that you can very visually see, if you're able to separate the people who are responding into leaders and non-people leaders, then you can actually see how much alignment or lack of alignment there is between leadership and staff. And it's just so interesting to me to see that you could have a senior leadership team that says, oh, we're so clear on our strategy, we're so clear on our values, we know who we are. And then you have staff saying, I couldn't care less, and I don't even know. I don't know, and I couldn't care less. Like apathy is probably the worst thing that you could come up against in business. So people just tell me.
What's the definition?
Apathy is when you just don't care. It's kind of like I relate a lot of things that are seemingly unrelated, but I think it's the perfect example. And think about dating. If you are going through a tough time with your partner and they're fighting with you, that is a way better scenario than you fighting with your partner or loving your partner and they're just like, what? Like, I don't care, make whatever you want for dinner. I don't care.
Like they checked out.
Yeah, exactly. Apathy. Like, imagine if someone said to you, I cheated, and then your reaction was, what are you gonna do? You know, like that is the worst reaction you could ever get.
Oh, that's the worst.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's over.
Like,
It's over. And I think it's the same thing with the company culture. You need engagement, and lack of engagement or lack of flexibility or lack of stability or lack of clear direction, all of those things impact the performance of an organization. So
right.
yeah.
So what do you think is the cause of like that? And I think I asked you this actually during the meeting itself, but like, you know, let's say you do a survey and the leadership management thinks it's amazing, everyone's doing well. But then when you see the staff, it's like a whole new different story. In that case, what do you think is the cause of like the difference and everything? Do you think it's because management, they need to show better numbers to their management, so they're hyping up the results, or is it not communicating apathy between staff and leaders? Like, what do you think it is?
I think it really does come down to communication, and communication is so much more than just sharing words. It could be sharing data, it could be sharing words, it could be the vibe in your workplace, it could be maybe you've done a good job telling your brand story and people know why you're there and why they should care, but it's also possible that they know that and still don't care. So, you know, how do you keep that momentum going? That energy really, really matters. And to your earlier question about, you know, how do you even phrase these surveys? Again, I think if you can rely on a proven model that has been vetted and researched and all of that, then I think you work out a lot of the difficulty of writing a brand new survey, because you can easily mess up your results. You might not get real results by asking the wrong questions. And I'll give you one example. There was an organization that I worked with a long time ago now. We had done some employee satisfaction surveys and that sort of thing. And then we were doing some work on strategic direction. We brought in a consultant, and the consultant wanted to do a survey that would give him the opportunity to bring in data from everyone in the company. And when he presented the data, I remember the leadership in the organization was like, oh, wow, we're doing so great. Look at this. We all love what we're doing. But anecdotally, a lot of the people that I was coaching and working with were saying to me, that survey was bullshit. I literally couldn't complain. There was no place for me in the questions to identify that I was unhappy. It was impossible. And there was no place for comments. So even when I was frustrated with something, I still only had an option to say, you know, I'm neutral about it, or you know, there's nothing I can do, or whatever. So talk about an ineffectual survey.
Wow.
Yeah. And I truly believe, because we talked about this, I talked about this with the leadership team. I truly believe they didn't see this at all. You know, I did let them know that some of the feedback that I got from multiple people was, it was like a rigged survey. There wasn't a way for people to be honest about where the areas where they wanted things to be different. And the feedback from the leadership team was like, who said that? That's not true. What I believe is reflected in there. And it's like they didn't get it at all. So clearly they wanted a certain kind of results, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you need to be very open, and you need to put the results that you dread to hear are true about your organization. Those have to be in there as options too.
Right.
Yeah.
It reminds me of topic. So I was reading a book. It was on motivational management. And how do you actually get an employee when you hire them in? How do you actually get them motivated to be productive and A players in the company? And it's interesting, their approach. And essentially what they say is, you have to take time to get to know them and understand them, and try to understand what drives them. And what drives them are one of five, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like, does accomplishments drive them? Does recognition drive them? Are they excited to become a certain type of person? Does that drive them and everything? I forget the other thing, but it fell into those categories. And they basically say, you know, when you actually understand what they are based on those dichotomies, you then need to start aligning what they do on their day-to-day work with who they want to be or what they want to accomplish or
Yeah.
what recognition they want. And once there's that alignment, then you'll have like a fully productive, motivated employee. It was an interesting book, actually.
Yeah,
I highly recommend
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I would love. What's the book called?
Motivational management. It's on Read It For Me, but with Dustin Link. Basically,
Okay.
it's kind of binge the book through that. It's 12-minute
Mhm.
kind of summary, so I'll send it to you after.
Okay, cool. Read It For Me. So readitfor.me. Really cool site. Check it out. It's sort of like the Coles Notes for all of the business and self-improvement books out there. It's great.
Yeah.
So there was another element that I wanted to mention. So you talked about the motivational management. Yes. So I've experienced this too, consulting with organizations. I've found that people feel compensated differently. So I think the most staunch example that I can think of in my experience was a situation where the company was growing. They were running out of space to put people. They needed to fit more people into tighter spaces. And there were some leaders who gave up their offices. And then there were some where the organization had to rent more space, put them on a completely different floor, give them a corner office. They interact with no one. But if you took them out of their office or made them share an office, it would have been like, for them, it would have been humiliating. It would have been a demotion. It would have been, I'm no longer important to this company. So it really depends. Yeah,
They
absolutely.
didn't want to be with other people. They just want to be alone to themselves.
It's not that they wanted to be alone. They wanted the corner office, or they wanted their office, their dedicated space. So there were literally some people who who said, let me do podcasts. I just want to be out there. I want to believe in this, and I want to speak to my purpose. And they would even take less money as long as they were able to live their purpose the way they wanted. And then there were others who were like, you take away my office? What? Well, this is going to be a problem, and personally, I've also had an experience like that where I've given up my office because I tend to work at organizations that are in growth mode. And I gave up my office in this one role because we were running out of space and we needed more meeting rooms. So I gave up my office, and I was very aware that there was one person in particular on the leadership team who was very formal, and the CEO suggested to me that I talk to this other leader and let this person know what I had chosen to do and ask for this person's advice to make sure that we didn't end up on bad footing. And it's so strange because it's like, I gave up my office. You didn't give up yours, like, how can this affect you at all?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. So I ended up doing what the CEO asked, and I booked a meeting with this other leader. And I said, things have been this way. As a result, I've decided to give up my office. I'm going to take a desk with the rest of the team. And I said, I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that. And the response I received was, I think it was a mistake. A lot of people won't respect you anymore. And I was just like, I felt like what she was saying to me is, I don't respect you if you don't have an office, so that's fine. But it was so sad to me that anyone thinks that the desk you sit behind, the office you have, the title you have, determines whether or not someone respects you.
Yeah, right.
So everyone's got different paradigms. Yeah. It's complicated.
Exactly.
People are so unique.
It's so complicated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember in my last 2 jobs, like 2 jobs ago, the CEO, he actually sat with us. Like, he was just on a desk on his laptop, and he didn't have a big monitor like everyone else. He just had a laptop, and he just kind of worked. And it was so chill. It was relaxed. I'm like, wow, that's the CEO. He's literally sitting 2 feet away from me, like a normal guy. The next company, the guy who had his own office and no one else had an office, and he was in his own place, and you had to walk into his office to meet with him and everything. So it was a whole different kind of like setting. And that kind of speaks to you, what you said. Everyone's kind of motivated in their own way. I know for me, when I work, I want to be around like people, and I want to feel a presence, a body near me, so I can just kind of talk and work, and I feel more present that way. Whereas if I'm alone in an office, I feel like I'm drying up.
Yeah, I love that you explained it that way, because it's visceral. Like the idea of drying up, it's like you say that and someone's just like, oh, you know, like I can feel how horrible that is.
Yeah.
But what makes one person feel horrible is different than what makes another person feel horrible. And so we really do need to think about culture. We need to think about individual desires, wants, asks, all of those things. And then we need to figure out how that connects to the bigger brand as a whole. One way of catching if someone is like answering the way they think they're supposed to is to have questions that are phrased in both positive and negative ways. And that gets complicated because you need to reverse score them, right? Okay. So let's say one example could be, I'm confident in the direction our organization will be taking and over the next 5 years. And then the next question, and it's like strongly agree or strongly disagree, neutral, strong, agree, strongly agree. And so I pick strongly agree. The next question, to verify that I'm not just saying what I think you want to hear, the next question could be something like, I'm confused about the direction of the organization. So now you're flipping the direction. And now if I say, I need to say strongly disagree. If I said strongly agree that I know where we're going, I need to strongly disagree with this other angle in order for me to be consistent. Or else those answers negate themselves because the scores kind of even themselves out. And at least you're getting honest feedback. So honestly, I'm definitely not a survey expert, and like literally, I'm pretty sure this is like an area of expertise. Like I don't know what the title is, but I am positive that there are people who are experts in like the wording, the phrasing, the testing, validating, the trial periods, the pilots, all of that. I'm sure that that's like a huge niche.
Like it's funny. Speaking about that, I used to work at the business school, and like student job type of thing, and we were all invited to this meeting with one guy from another department of the business school, and his job was really surveys. Like he would just do surveys, and he was an expert at them. He taught a course about them, and we were all walking to his office for the workshop, and we're like, "This guy's passionate about surveys. Like what kind of weird." It was so weird. So we go there, we sit, we take notes, and he got so passionate about like the dots should be dots and not pictures of wings of birds, and like he was invigorated, and he showed bad examples of surveys. Like this is disgrace and everything, and then we're all just like, this guy's like so excited right now, and we walked out of the workshop. It was a great workshop. Like I actually learned a lot, but it was so strange how excited he was about surveys, and we were like, he just dedicated 30 years of his life to surveys. What the heck? It was so weird.
Yeah, that's a great example, and I think I have one that's similar. It was I was an early Google partner for Google Ads. Like I said, I'm an early adopter, and at the time they were really investing a lot in their partner program because it was new. And so Google invited me to a conference as their guest, which was really cool. And it was a search engine optimization conference. And one of the speakers was a Google evangelist, which means that they essentially are allowed to research and go and speak. It doesn't mean that they are preaching, use Google. Like this evangelist, this Google evangelist, that was officially his job title, did not promote Google at all. His area of passion and expertise was analytics. And I really don't, I think I remember his name. I don't know. I need to try and look him up. And he was gracious enough to give me some time after his talk, and we hung out and discussed a few things. But this is a guy who was talking analytics, and he's written books on analytics. Really, really smart numbers guy, like really niche stuff. But how do you make that interesting to others? And he was this very soft-spoken, lanky Indian man, I believe. and he it was so funny. I just expected a very professional, chill, low energy talk, and he talked about, I remember him putting his slides up with the analytics, and he was like, okay, so see this peak, see that peak, those are little tiny internet orgasms. and and then he just kept going with that theme. He was like, when people come to this page, you want them to have orgasms, and it's like, okay, but it got everyone giggling and looking at the analytics in ways they never did before. It's like, wow, that's that peak over there, that's serious. It was really, really brilliant. And then he also had a section in his talk where he showed us online analytics experiences gone wrong. And at the time, so this is a long time ago, but at the time, he used as one of his examples. He goes live in the conference. He goes live onto Roger's customer service Twitter page or something like that. And it was private. You had to request access in order to see the thread. And he was like, whoever's watching the data for this page, like, what a huge fail, because the whole world can't see it. And this is your customer support. And he was just like, fail, like he was awesome in terms of his energy around analytics. Very, very cool.
I feel like that's what you need, though, right? When it comes to boring things, if you teach it in a boring way, no one will remember. But if you teach it in like peaks and orgasms and stuff like that, like that's the stuff that'll stick in your head, and you'll actually end up implementing it, right?
Yeah.
That's funny,
at that exact same conference, there was another company that was a landing page optimization company, and I'll still never forget this. What they did in their like, think about landing page optimization. It's like, this resolution of photo or size, works better than this one. Like, talk about droning on forever. But what they did was they organized their whole talk around variations that you never would have expected had the impact that they had. So one of them was and the way that they did it is they would show us both landing pages in the presentation. So here are both landing pages. Can you see the difference? And I swear, this one, I could not see the difference at all. It was a financial company in the US. It was an investment company, so some serious money put behind this landing page stuff. And they changed the shade of gray that was the background of the page, and that one variable caused a 14% increase in signups.
What?
And no one could spot it. Like, the audience was welcomed to say, oh, this is the difference. The headline's different. The form looks different. The order of the information is different. No one could spot. The shade of gray was barely different, but it was tested over multiple periods of time, different seasons, different financial stages, different audiences, and consistently this color of gray had this average of 14% increase in uptake. Yeah, so what a brilliant way to show something that's really boring.
Right.
What's the difference between these two pages? Both, I can't tell. It's kind of like, where's Waldo? It's a game, but I couldn't tell, and yet huge difference. So
wow,
yeah,
that's fascinating.
Yeah, communicate. If there's something you think is worth communicating, you better darn well find out how to communicate it effectively, because if you're not going to bother figuring out how to communicate it in a way that resonates, don't say it at all, because you're just wasting your energy, the audience's energy, and it's literally ineffectual. It's like it didn't happen. It's completely not memorable. So if something's worth saying, say it well. For the people you're speaking to.
Yeah, like they could have said, the difference is just the gray. That's it, and nothing would happen. But if you get them to play around with it, try to figure out themselves, that's how it sticks. I'm really actually fascinated about this idea. Like, how do ideas actually stick? I'm actually going to be reading a book. It's called "Made to Stick." I'm really excited about it. But some of the things that the book and a lot of my friends tell me, and a lot of courses teach me, is like, when you're presenting an idea, you want to make sure there's a fun element. Use analogies, break down to the easiest steps, make sure it's memorable, say something controversial that'll stick around. And anytime I look back at my previous courses, the boring ones are the one that just say it for fact.
Yes.
And in fact, I remember this copywriting course I was taking it. I was excited. It was just so boring. And then she even yawned in the course, and I was like, "Don't!" I put it away right away. But
the medium is the message. You yawn. That's what I remembered.
Yeah, you're right. I literally only remember the yawn. I don't remember anything else. And the other course, this guy, he was having fun. He wore wigs and played guitar and taught a concept of grabbing attention and everything through copy. And I was like, I love this, and I actually finished the whole course before I even finished the other one. So communicating and how you communicate is just so important.
Yeah, I did a talk in Portland a couple of years ago on the lessons that the adult learning industry can take from marketing to be more effective. And one of the things, and one of the things I did in my talk was that movie, the Freddie Mercury biopic was like just out. And so I took the one with that Malik guy, I can't remember now. Anyway,
okay.
And I took a clip from that movie where essentially they're showing the band coming up with the
We Will Rock You or something. Yeah.
But they're coming up with it like, why don't we get the audience involved? And I was talking about how you need to get your learners engaged. And when we have online learning, it's like, oh, well, we put it in front of them for 20 minutes, and then they passed a test that asked obvious questions that they probably could have answered without taking the course. So I'm able to check all the boxes and say, they learned. But I was trying to say to them, like, how do you engage folks? And here was a band up on stage, tens of thousands, maybe even over 100,000 people at certain festivals. And how did they get them engaged? Well, they thought about it in a very real way. And they said, well, let's make a song the audience can play with us. And that was really the concept there. And so I played that clip and I talk about the concept. And then I asked, I want to know, I'm curious, is there anyone in this audience that didn't want to stomp their feet to the beat while that was playing? And I think I saw 4 hands in the audience. And I just couldn't believe that there were even 4. How do you...
I didn't want to.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that there were even 4 people that watched that clip, heard them talking about, like, how can we engage with people? Just trust me. Just, you do this. And then he starts singing. And it was an experiential moment as a movie watcher. So
right.
How can we do that in learning? How do we do that in marketing? How do we do that in communication?
And how did you end up applying that in adult entertainment? Like, what was the correlation?
In adult learning?
Oh, in adult learning. I just said adult entertainment. Oh no.
Adult learning.
I read that so wrong. I read that so wrong.
Funny. No, it was adult learning. So education for adults in a corporate environment. Yeah, very different.
My bad.
That's hilarious. I kind of love that you misheard that because that's just funny.
Because I'm thinking, like, how do people play along if they're watching? Like, But yeah, learning that makes sense.
Well, Juliana, you have no filters.
She's coming to something at this point. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah. No, it was adult learning, and. So think about engagement. And then another thing that is really important is utility, immediate utility. So if I'm communicating something to you and it's important, it better be relevant. Because if I say it to you now and it's not relevant, you can't use it immediately, well, you're going to forget. It's going to be lost. I think something like 70%, like if you take a course one day, 70% or 76% or something of what you learned is gone the next day if you haven't used it.
Right.
So if you haven't applied it right away, 76% is gone within a day. And then like by the end of 7 days or 5 days, I can't remember the stats. It's in the 90s. Like it's gone. And that's why something like YouTube and just searching for that 2-minute clip when you need to learn something. That's why that is killing adult education.
Right. That makes sense.
You know, I don't really need to know. I don't need to sit through your 3-hour health and safety training. But when I am going to go into the hazardous liquids room or whatever, and I am at my computer and I quickly check, do I need to wear gloves with this? I get that information instantly, and I'll always remember it because I use it right away.
That's so true, because I find that I like reading books when I need to read them, and it's topics relevant to what I need. For example, I read a book called "I Will Teach You to Be Rich," and at that time I was trying to figure out my finances, and because I was reading the book and literally applying it, like the concept stuck in my head. Whereas like if I force read a book when I don't need to read it just for the hell of reading it, I forget half the book. I don't even care about it, and I move on to something else, right? So you're right. It's so important.
Yeah. Marketing, learning, sales, it really all needs to be relevant, just in time. I can give you one other example. So I'm very passionate about effective communications. And one thing that I've done throughout my career, I'm not doing it so much these days, but I regularly taught anger management classes every Saturday for like 10 years. And it worked. They were in person, and it worked really well. And I think it worked really well because someone would call and I would answer the phone and talk to them about why they needed anger management, and they'd sign up for the class. And now I have, I still have an online version, and you can sign up for free for the online version. But the conversion rate for people who get the like short free version that does not have a certificate to a paid client is like, I don't have the exact numbers, but it is like it's like nothing. Like I might get 2 conversions like in a 6-month period from the free class, where I've proven that I know exactly what I'm talking about. And for this nominal amount of money, you can go deeper and get a certificate, whether it's for your for court or whatever. And I think it's because I think it comes down to immediate utility. When you are in a crisis, over the holidays, my anger management class signups always go up. But if you can't, but you need that help in the moment. The reason why they go up is because people are at home with family having fights. And, right? So if you can call me and talk to me about it in that moment, and I actually help you solve the problem in the moment, you might have a skill right away and see the value right away. Whereas, here's an online program, watch the video, and then watch the next, whatever videos. And it's not custom built for what you're fighting right now. There's no value in there. It doesn't matter if I've shown you how exceptionally well I know that topic, because it wasn't custom relevant. I know that that's not a term, but it wasn't that level of customization or that level of relevance.
For sure.
So yeah, it really does matter. Contextual, immediate utility, huge. Both of those are huge.
Yeah, and I think I don't know why I keep thinking about copywriting, but I feel like if I was writing the landing page for your anger management class, it probably changed right before Christmas. And instead of saying something like, I don't know, like make your work environment the best, instead it would probably be like, have a civilized Thanksgiving you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
An anger management class now, right? Like it's timing, moments, value propositions changing and everything, headlines changing, sub-headlines changing.
Yeah, like
we're nerd to this stuff.
Yeah, no, totally. And if you think about it, you need to think that level at that level of depth in order to create a landing page that is relevant to somebody. Because if I say anger management class with certificate, that's true, but if I say don't get served your divorce papers while you're locked up overnight in jail, that's going to literally resonate with people.
Right. If it's the right person. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. If it's the right person. Exactly. So somebody who's like, anger management marriage is going
save
to.
Your marriage, yeah.
Yeah. It's, but like literally how poignant that is. when your marriage is suffering and you're teetering on divorce, be proactive instead of, that time she called the cops, I knew it was over. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that way.
Right. Oh, don't have her call the cops on you. Perfect headline. Oh, yeah. I can imagine. I think everything kind of boils down to really knowing who your target audience is, what are their main pain points, what's relevant and important to them, and jumping into the conversation that's already happening in their head, and just and your marketing is just rewriting that conversation. It's not really creating anything new. It's just taking that, putting on a landing page, a video or a YouTube video, whatever it is, and just rewriting essentially what they have in their head onto a piece of content, landing page, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. And from a learning perspective, like there's a lot of choose your own adventure books and learning, and even Netflix has some shows where you can choose, which thing the character decides to do. Why not start learning instead of with, the topic of this program is this, when you are done this program, you will know how to, and then the bullet list. Why not start it with, and I know all of the formal learning pedagogy strategists out there are like, oh, well, you just don't understand learning. But why not start your education program with just a person in front of a camera telling their story about how the health and safety course could have saved them their leg, their spouse, their hand, it would have spared them burn marks or whatever. And then make it engaging by having a bunch of different types of stories. And in order to finish that first step and move to the next step in the program, let the learner choose whose story they want. Maybe somebody wants to choose the story from the person that they feel looks most like them. Or maybe they don't want the person who looks most like them. Maybe they want they see somebody, maybe I'm young and I see somebody much older than me and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that person's learned, because I bet you they know way more than this person. Let me choose. And suddenly I'm invested in the story. And the story is ultimately why I should care, why I should stick it to the end. Whereas you will learn these 5 things is what we think we need to say at the beginning, because that's what you will have at the end. That's why you'll stick. That's why you'll last till the end, because you want to know these things.
Right. And I think like those stories you mentioned in that choose your own adventure thing, they don't have to be grand and spectacular, meaning like not spectacular. I mean, like, for example, a story about a woman who lost a husband because they fell into somewhere and then end up dying and everything. That's not the most relatable. But if you have someone, let's say a girl who, I don't know, ended up cutting her pinky off a machine because she didn't wear certain gloves, and now it's all bruised and looks disgusting, and has to go to an event and shake hands with someone, and all the person could see was like the disgustingness of the finger. I feel like those stories, like the little relatableness, those are also very effective. It's this guy in this book called Story Word that I read a while back. He talks about stories are just 5-second moments, and the best stories are not the big stories. They're just like the most relatable ones.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like and I bet you this has happened, but imagine someone said, I absolutely hated my job. I was looking for other work. I got kind of apathetic and negligent at work because I didn't care. I was unhappy. While I was looking for other work, I got a job interview, and 2 days before my job interview, I had an accident at work and ended up with a huge bruise on my face. And I'm pretty sure that killed my chances at that other job.
Now I'm stuck in this job for my life.
Yeah. Like something like that. Like, let's talk about consequences. We need to think in an engaging way, and not just do our jobs with the concept of how do I check this box? I did it. I created a training program. It's in PowerPoint. And every slide has 300 words on it in tiny font. But I did it, and people are going to have to stare at it for 20 minutes, and they will have done it. And so we all did our job, but no effect was actually achieved.
Right. Yeah. This story reminds me of a time in university. A lot of professors were like that. Like, it's just like slides, boring, talk, memorize, go to class, leave, forget them. All it was just mundane. But I
Yeah.
remember this one class. It was actually it was a payroll class, actually, surprisingly.
No way.
And I remember he was teaching in a way that was just so inspiring, and he brought real life examples, and he was so real, and he was passionate about it. And I was actually excited to go to a payroll class
Yeah.
compared to like my social psychology class. And there was a situation where I usually skip class a lot, and this one girl, I kind of liked her. She's kind of cute and everything, and she was
Mhm.
like, "Hey, Leaf, skip that class and come hang out with me." And I was like, "Oh!" And actually, I said no to her and went to the class about payroll because the professor was so like in a new world when he taught it. And I was so I walked out of class feeling so inspired, and I couldn't miss out on that. So honestly, like teachers, like it's so important. Education and how you teach and everything. You gotta learn this stuff.
Yeah, and I think education is a really, really good example for us to talk about in terms of effective communication, because education is something we all hold dear. So everybody has a teacher they liked, or
Yeah.
maybe they learned something outside of a classroom, and then that becomes like so important to them. That shaped who I am, and sitting at a desk couldn't teach me that. People have very strong feelings about education, and the truth is, whatever you create, whatever widget you create, whatever service you provide, uh, if you assume somebody would only invest themselves into something that they're doing to add value. So if you believe in what you're doing, you don't just want to have a headline out there, "We run payroll." That's cool, good for you. I don't care, but good for you. But then there are companies where I will never buy their product, but I love their branding. That's
That's
really cool. That's super cool.
right.
There's a server company. They've changed their branding now, but I don't refer to them as much anymore. But every time I talked about branding, I would go to this company's website, and it was like, we are people fanatics. They didn't talk about the freaking servers. They talked about people, and I just loved it. We
Right.
are customer satisfaction obsessed, and I just their message resonated with me. I knew they were my people, even though
Mhm.
I've never bought a server in my life and probably never will. Or like that may never be my decision, right? I'm like not the IT person or whatever, but I knew they were my people. The people who worked there, we would be friends. Just
Yeah, I think it boils
all
down
around.
to like it's not always about the tactical, it's also about the emotional. So a tactical thing would be the servers and the VPNs and blah, 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 but the emotional is like we care about you, like you know what I mean, like that thing you described. So as
Yeah.
marketers, like that's super important. We keep that in mind, right?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I think 2021, to bring us back, is going to be peppered with lots of uncertainty, and 2020 has primed us for that. But with that uncertainty comes a ton of opportunity, and PaymentEvolution is trying to create leverage here by looking at what is our communal goal, which is a healthy economy right now, right? We want healthy people and we want a healthy economy. And so we're thinking about ways that we can do that. That is opening up all kinds of opportunities for us in terms of how we market effectively, how we can serve our clients better. So look for those opportunities, and watch how we do it, and give us your feedback. We're definitely interested in hearing it, but think about it in a new way. It's not just, what promotion should I offer for January? It's why should anyone care at all about anything I have to say in January? Rethink everything. Rethink everything. And the world is forcing us to do that with our lockdowns and the outbreaks everywhere and all of that. We need to rethink things anyways. So don't look at 2021 and the work ahead like a burden. Look at 2021 as a time of opportunity, and find other brands that excite you and inspire you and are doing that too. Because the easiest way to fall behind is to count on your own mind for motivation 100% of the time. You know, surround yourself with like-minded people. Look at competitors that you know are killing it. Find your motivation in lots of places, and seize the day in 2021. We all need it, every single one of us.
What a perfect ending. That's that's gold right there. For sure, there's a lot of opportunities coming in 2021. Yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up there. We've capped it at an hour right now. So any last things you want to say, Juliana, or maybe where people should follow you?
Yeah, sure. I guess, I'm going to call out Twitter. You can find me twitter.com/JTCINA, or my handle is @JTCina, JTCINA. And please, if you're watching this or if you see this in the future, DM me or message me just what opportunities do you see for 2021? And if you're seeing this in 2021, that's okay. Message me. What opportunities do you see ahead? Someone's ability to see the mountain and see the joy at the top is huge, because a lot of people get to the foot of that mountain and look up and just turn around. And all of us need to come together to be our optimal selves right now. So I really want to hear your ideas. Please, 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 please let me know what opportunities you see for 2021.
Perfect. There we go. And guys, if you are following us on Payment Evolution, be sure to follow us, like us, tweet us, subscribe to us, all that good stuff at Payment Evolution, wherever you're watching us right now. We'll be back here with another live, I believe, next week. Same time, same place. So be on the lookout, and feel free to follow us on social media to give an update on what the next topic is going to be. Other than that, thanks a lot, Juliana. I will see you at work in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone. Happy Friday.